Jay, thank you. You can go get a late dinner or something because we're going to be here for the next half hour or so on the Hot Zone, getting all sorts of post-game reaction as soon as we're into the dressing rooms and all sorts of analysis from Cheryl Pounder, Frankie Corrado, and Darren Dreger. Last year in the Cup final, of course, the Oilers go down 3-0. They come back to tie it, but they couldn't quite complete the miracle comeback. This was kind of a microcosm of that. They go down 3-0 in this game, come back to tie it, a couple of other roller coaster rides in there before they actually get it done. Just a stunner.
Yeah, shocking. And you know what? We talk about this Edmonton Oilers team being a resilient group. Well, they showed that tonight, and this game is over. Like, if the Florida Panthers score first in a game, good luck, because all they do is build a lead, and they did that. And if the game is over, then it feels like the series is over, because that's going to be a really steep hill for the Edmonton Oilers to climb out of. Well, guess what? They didn't let that deter them. Into this game, you change your goaltender, even though Stuart Skinner didn't play awful in the first period, but you get a different feeling around the group, and then you slowly start to chip away at things. You know, you score 5 goals in this game, and 4 of those goals are going to be from players that aren't McDavid or Draisaitl. You know, another testament to the depth of this group, and when the depth is going, this group is really going. And of course, Leon Draisaitl, who finishes things off. If you were going to get a win, you knew the big boys were going to have to show up and have a response, and Draisaitl and McDavid, they seem to have those responses now. 21-16 in 37 games after a defeat. This was a really resilient effort by the Oilers.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, for me, it's a blend of shock and awe, and the awe comes in awesome of the Edmonton Oilers and the comeback that they mounted here. And the shock comes in the form of the Florida Panthers not being able to protect that 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
I mean, they come out to a picture-perfect first period start. The Oilers run into penalty trouble again. The Panthers make them pay. It looks like it is game, set, and match. And now we're wondering, okay, is this thing going to end in 5 in Edmonton? And the resiliency of the Edmonton Oilers and the tough call by coaching. Maybe it wasn't a tough call, but it's a decision that you have to make that goalie change coming into the second period.
It's only tough because this time, if you pull Skinner, I don't think you can't go back to him again, right? Like it's Pickard now for the rest of the way.
But it's part of the spark, right?
Yeah.
Got his 7th win in a row, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he had to come in and play well. And you said it, Drags. This was a team in the first period that they were overwhelmed with the forecheck of the Florida Panthers. They were dumping it in. They were working below the goal line. They were finding ways to get those attempts on net. And, of course, I think the high dangers you had mentioned, they were 13-1 after the first period in favor of the Florida Panthers. So the surprising element was the second period for the Edmonton Oilers, which has been their nemesis throughout the playoffs in this series, and they find a way to get 3 unanswered in that second period alone, and it starts on the power play with RNH.
20-3, the high danger chances for the Oilers in that second period. So let's get to the comeback in a second, but first the OT winner, as it happens so often in overtime of a Stanley Cup playoff game. It's not some spectacular top-shelf shot. It's a play where Draisaitl looks like he's just trying to push the puck forward, maybe to Perry, and ends up in the back of the net.
Well, it starts in the back end, and it's going to be Ekholm. You have a stretch pass, but it's going to be Podkolzin. I thought he made an excellent play to make that pass, but you've got Corey Perry driving the net, and anytime you're driving the net and you're Corey Perry, you're going to Bobrovsky. But when you look at it, it's going to be the quick play. You recognize you can move that puck up, and now all of a sudden Podkolzin bumps it. Perry actually leaves it. I love the shield, though, of Leon Draisaitl. He's got pressure. He recognizes he's got that pressure, and he uses one hand to shovel it towards the net. You notice that Perry had left that puck for Leon Draisaitl, and he continues on to the weak side. So I think that Bobrovsky thinks that puck is sliding across to Corey Perry. So he's moving and opens up that 5-hole and gets redirected in the net.
And the little things, the little tiny moments that can change a game, that can change a series, because Frederick almost puts one off the back of his foot and off the post, and then they win it there. And then Pickard makes a save that not only saved the game, but if the Oilers win the Cup, will go down in history as saving their season.
Yeah, no doubt. And listen, I didn't think Stuart Skinner had a bad first period, but you have to remember, Calvin Pickard never lost the net for the Edmonton Oilers because of poor play. He lost the net because he was hurt. So he was playing well in the playoffs. So you have to have a certain level of comfort going back to him, knowing that, your season, your Stanley Cup aspirations were on the line. And, You get a big save in overtime where Sam Bennett, that goes off the glove and off the crossbar, and that's a player who is as hot as any player in these playoffs right now, who leads the Stanley Cup playoffs in goals, and there's your guy who you went to give your team a little bit of a spark, made the saves he was supposed to make, and then he made a few along the way that you're not exactly accounting for.
The playoffs started, Oiler fans hoped they'd never see Calvin Pickard. And then once Skinner got back in there, they hoped they'd never see him again. And now he might be their hope to win the Stanley Cup. Let's look at his numbers in the playoffs. Just remarkable. Now 7-0. Look, the goals against, the save percentage, nothing spectacular. But the record is all that matters at this point. Here's Calvin Pickard with Emily Kaplan.
I mean, we didn't have our best start, but we like to do things the hard way. So great second and third. Obviously a crushing goal to give up at the end of regulation, but coming out in overtime, we regrouped, had some good looks, and got a bounce.
So after that first period, you guys are down 3-0. Take me inside the locker room. How do you find out you're going in?
We had to clean up some things for sure. Stop taking penalties, and but there's so much belief, especially when we're down in that room. I can't tell you how many times we've came back in games. We play some of our best hockey when we're chasing from behind. But like I said, we like to do things the hard way, and there wasn't much room for error there in the second and third, but we got it done.
So what's your mindset when you go out there for the second? Because you haven't started a game in about a month.
Yeah, I can't worry about anyone else's job. I just got to go out there and keep hitting the ball back. And obviously, you can look at it like it's 3-0. You don't want to give up another one because maybe the game's over. But if you look at it that way, you're obviously just going to be, putting too much pressure on yourself. So just went out there. We played really well in the second period. Obviously, got a couple goals early, and we had them on their heels for a lot of the night.
Describe, this team believes in you so much. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, going in those situations makes me, more comfortable. My teammates have my back, and I have my teammates' back, and just gotta keep going.
Now tied 2-2, going back to Edmonton instead of starving off elimination. How important was this win?
Oh, it was huge. Obviously, giving up that goal at the end, it can be a little tough, obviously, going into the room there, but there's a ton of adversity we face all the time. So this is definitely a good amount of adversity, and we passed the test tonight.
And I know you and Stuart Skinner both talk about the roller coasters of your position. It's so tough, but you guys are so close. How would you describe your relationship?
Yeah, no, it's great. I fell for him today. It was, a bad period by our team. Too many penalties. They played really well too. They're making great plays, earned some goals, and he came to play. He made some big saves early. It was once I got in that there, it was a different team in front of me for sure.
Awesome. We'll enjoy it, Calvin. Congrats.
Thanks, Em.
No.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's hear from Florida goalie Sergei Bobrovsky.
In your mind, what was the difference there in the end?
Yeah, it was a good hockey game. We had a good start. They came back, so it was a tight game. It was good chances. The series comes down to best of three, so I'm excited about that.
Is this what you guys expected from this series going in, just nonstop tight action?
Yeah, exactly. They are a good team, so we respect them, and we're just it is what it is. We put that behind us and ready for next one.
Just to follow up, when you come off such a big win in the last game, you face a desperate team. Is this something you expected as far as the way they came out?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that they're not gonna give away, they're not gonna give up. So we knew that it's gonna be a hard game, and it was a hard game, So again, the series comes down to best of three, and we're excited about that.
What did you see on the winning goal?
All right, a little bit there from Sergei Bobrovsky. Lots more Oilers coming up here in our post-game show. I mentioned the Pickard save would be legendary if the Oilers win the Stanley Cup. This entire game and that comeback will be because of what you said, Draigs. When it was 3-0 Florida, I think 98% of the viewing population of people who follow hockey thought that the game and the series was over. And I guess it starts with the move to Pickard, Frankie, which cues the comeback.
Yeah, and listen, we talked about it coming into the series. The Edmonton Oilers' depth has never been this good. And if you were going to beat the Florida Panthers, you were going to have to rely on the depth as well as your star players. And tonight, you get a good mix of both of that, and you get to see how, advantageous it can be to take advantage of these situations. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who is clearly playing through something, gets things started. Darnell Nurse, who had a really nice game, gets a goal and an assist. And there's Podkolzin, who doesn't score as much as he would like to on his chances. And then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does a great job setting up the goal by Jake Wallman, who, of course, gets things finished there. But that's a nice sequence for the Edmonton Oilers. Depth players to find a way to get the Oilers back into this game.
Yeah, a little love to the coaching staff of the Edmonton Oilers. And, again, as we talked about earlier, it's a tough call to make that goalie change going into the second period. But I can assure you that coming into this game, Game 4, there was a fair bit of back and forth among that coaching staff. Okay, do we start Calvin Pickard in Game 4? And it's not that Stu Skinner to this point in the series has been bad. It's just that Bobrovsky has been better, and there were ill-timed goals. Not bad goals, but just when you need a save, they weren't getting it on a continued basis. And then also, you look at the change up front and bringing Jeff Skinner into the equation. They take out Arvidsson, a very popular player, an energy guy, and the debate among the group there was, okay, do we take out Podkolzin? Do we take out Trent Frederick, or do we take out Arvidsson? And Podkolzin came up big in Game 4 to prove that they made the right call.
Well, Chris Knoblock and the tweaks that he does make, even the primary on the Wallman goal came from Kapanen, who at that point had only played something like 5 minutes in the game. So all of a sudden, he was the least amount played in terms of time on ice, and now all of a sudden, he's finding a way to the score sheet. So again, a nice button to push.
Frankie, you mentioned Darnell Nurse, who has a rough start, takes one of those penalties that leads to the first goal and didn't really have a good first period, and then comes out and gets that goal and assist, and one of the main reasons they turned it around. Let's hear from Darnell Nurse.
Going through that first period when a lot had gone wrong for you, how did you manage to stay calm and do what you did in the second?
Yeah, we came in and said we got to get our heads out of our arses, I think, and just get to work, and that's what we did there in the second. We just whether it was a puck race, a battle in the corner, we just found a way to be harder, and as cliche as it was, the hard work kind of worked us out of that spot we were in.
What can you say about a performance like Pickard there?
He was amazing. He's done that countless times over the course of the season, countless times over the course of this playoff run. He steps up in big moments for us, and no different tonight.
Some of the guys were saying after Game 3 that Leon talked to the team, afterwards, and kind of to see him then practice what he preaches, and both games that you've won, he scores in overtime. What's that mean?
He's one of the leaders on this team and one of the best players in the world for a reason. He not only says what he's going to do, he backs up with his play and his action. And that's what makes him an amazing leader. And we get into overtime and those tense moments, and he has an ability to relax and then just make plays, and gets rewarded for working hard in it.
How were you able to refocus after that heartbreaking goal at 19 seconds and at the end of the third?
Yeah, we just came in the room and took a deep breath, and I think everyone had the realization that if after the first period down 3-0, we had the opportunity to come out and play overtime, we'd all be very happy with it. So that was the mindset and the approach we took, and obviously there was pushes back and forth and chances back and forth, but we stuck with it and made the one convert.
You also have Podkolzin just kind of factoring in, and on a number of these goals, this sort of fourth line player that work ethic kind of exemplified. What do you sort of make of his night and his contribution from that spot?
Yeah, he's Pods gives everything. It doesn't just need to be a game day. It could be a practice day. It could be an off day. He gives everything, and got rewarded for it tonight. But that's the work ethic and the passion that he brings to our team, to our game, and that life and that juice that he brings every night.
What did it mean to you to step off the wall and put that in the way you did?
Yeah, it was nice to contribute. I think the 2 games before wasn't. I felt like I had more to give to the group, and it was good to contribute here tonight, and gonna need more of that over these last however many games.
What about the desperation?
Now the guy who started the comeback, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Ryan, you've played in the league for a long time, been in a lot of playoff games now. Have you been in a crazier game than that one?
Oh no, probably not with the stakes this high. Obviously, get behind and have to chase it. But I mean, we just did a great job of putting our heads down and continuing to fight.
That first period, tough to script, maybe a worse first period for you. What did you go over in the room? How did you flip it, you think?
I mean, just a reset, obviously, in the second or the first intermission there, and I mean, penalties in the first again, and probably because we were chasing a little bit. But I mean, it's kind of been the MO of our group all year, past few years of just not quitting on each other, and just keep coming and coming as much as we can, and I mean, we did a great job just bearing down and finding a way.
What do you say about Calvin coming in for you guys after that?
I mean, unbelievable to be able to step into a game like that, make some huge saves, like really tough saves, clutch saves. I can't imagine coming off the bench as easy as a goalie, but he stepped in beautifully.
What does it say about Leon able to score clutch goals where it's overtime, late in games, all playoffs for you guys?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, he's a horse out there for us, and just always. I mean, like you're seeing, it's just constant, it's consistent. We always can lean on him, and he always finds a way to get those big ones.
What did Corey say after the first period?
I mean, it was just a bit of a wake up. Like, I mean, look where we are here, and the position we're in. Obviously, that's a guy that everybody in that room respects so much. He's been through it all, and so when he speaks up like that, it means a lot. And I thought we did a good job responding.
The series has been a roller coaster. What's the feeling heading home?
I mean, obviously better than it could have been, but obviously a long way to go. We're just excited to get back home and play in front of those fans on a Saturday night. It's going to be pretty fun.
Ryan, can you give us a thought on? There's no doubting your team's grit. What is it about this group that seems to always outperform whenever your back is against the wall? Can you play?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I guess it just comes down to the individuals in the room, and we just push each other, and we don't want to quit on each other. And I mean, obviously you got to have a tight-knit group to be able to do that, but also the right individuals to just be able to have that within themselves to never stop. And like I said, it does show a lot about the group that we have to not want to quit on each other.
Right. Some of the guys mentioned that after game 3, Leon spoke to the team after the game. What's it mean for you to see a guy that walks the walk after he talks the talk?
Yeah, I mean, he always does. I mean, he's obviously, him and Connor are two guys that we rely on a lot, and when they speak up, which they do, they always follow it up. So it's no surprise, but obviously it's great to see a leader like that do that.
After the first period, Ryan, how much? At the podium, Panthers head coach Paul Maurice.
Paul, just another one of those games in the series, another tight one. Just what did you see from your team? You guys go up 3-0, and then what did you see from Edmonton that got them back in? Just how the roller coaster of everything that unfolded after that.
Well, it was just a mirror of the first period. They got into a little penalty trouble there, and we took advantage of it. In the second period, it was just the opposite. I think we were +3 on the power play side early, and -3 on the power play side in the second half, and then we came out and even tight games, right? Both teams had some chances there, cracked some bars, and had some chances that didn't go, and it's a bad break on the overtime winner. So 3 of the 4 games have gone to overtime, and I think that's probably the expectation of what we have going forward.
Front left.
When you have a game like this, the way it ends and everything, is it good to be on a flight tomorrow? I know it's a long flight, but just you guys are flying out and playing again.
Better if we'd won it, but if you plan for 7 games, that means you're losing 3 of them. So you have to take that pain and eat it, use it, and come back.
Front right.
Yeah, Paul, this is probably not the greatest after a loss, greatest question, but I mean, even behind the bench, can you appreciate what we're all seeing in terms of just what type of series this is, in terms of drama and just epic play on both sides?
Yeah, you got just, I think we focus on sometimes the mistakes that get made. by good players at times, and you miss some of the heart and soul and the intensity of it. It's so fast. Every board battle, everything can turn into something. So there's a tension because both teams can score. I mean, from my point of view, there's been phenomenal goaltending in this series. The numbers tell me I'm lying, but the final score says I'm lying, but the goaltending has been incredible because the game can break on slot pass to Sam Bennett, crack a bar. I mean, those are the ones that there's just everything is dangerous all the time. So there's a mental intensity, mental toughness. I think both teams show that the game's not going to be over till it is. You get 3 of 4 games in a final into overtime. You've got 2 really good, evenly matched teams.
Raise your hand if you have a question. Left side, third row.
With the dramatic momentum swings in this series, how would you describe what it's like emotionally as a coach taking in or in between periods? Like, how would you describe the emotions?
Oh, it's as good as this thing gets. This is the Christmas. This is the payoff. Yeah, you want to be a good pro, but Tuesday and on the road and on the West Coast in November, not as much as fun as you think. But this is where you get the payback. Like don't get me wrong, it's not light. I mean, you feel it coming from about a day and a half. You can feel the game coming, and you feel it all day, and it's exciting. But this is truly the juice that you live for. And it happens for the bench. It's like twice as fast as it is for you people sitting upstairs, especially in this building. I worked for Jim Rutherford for a long time, and press rows so far up. We never played a good game in here. It was always so slow because they sit so far away from the ice. Man, we didn't skate. We'd go into New Jersey and it'd be a dog of a game, but the press row was right by that. You go, oh my God, that was fast. And I go, no, that was terrible. But at ice level, the speed, the skill, the intensity of it is incredible.
Back of the room, standing up.
Paul, during this run you guys have been on, what have you liked about your team when you've been facing this situation, a tough loss like this? What have you learned about their ability to respond?
I think we have a real good handle on the depth of it, that you don't allow it to be too deep, right? We've had 2 overtime losses now that are painful, and we've enjoyed the 2 wins. So we're flat now. Best 2 out of 3. It's great for the fans. It truly, I felt this way about the series last year. I think it's great for the game. We got a Canadian team and a U.S.-based team. We've got all of some of the best players in the world for sure. Incredible depth on both teams, and then, like a schizophrenic mood swings on the bench. Like you're going and then you're not, and everybody's trying. So it's impressive to watch.
We'll take one more question. Right side, third row.
Paul, the second period, I think before they scored, they had a couple in alone on Bobrovsky as well. He makes a save on it.
Yeah.
Was it the penalty on Bennett and the goal, or was it something you could even see in the few minutes before that led you believe like this is an second?
No, I never. When I say I never felt that, I mean I understand that. You'll look at when you look at the analytics in between periods, all the spikes for both teams are on power plays. That's where all the action comes from. Then everybody flatlines almost straight across. We got a little bump there in overtime when Benny hit the crossbar. There was a couple of things that went in. Lundell got in alone, and then they've got a couple of small spikes in there, which are huge. You get a guy in alone, right? But almost everything that's happened kind of in terms of moving the bar from your analytics are almost all happening on the special teams. That's why they're so critical.
Thank you for your time, Paul.
So many different heroes for the Oilers tonight. Leon Draisaitl comes off. Look, he's been a terrific playoff player his entire career. I think maybe we could agree that last game was maybe his worst playoff game, where he was
uneventful. Yeah.
Didn't have a one-shot attempt.
Right.
And so what does he do? couple of assists in the GWG in overtime.
Yeah, and after the first period, you could just tell that he was feeling it, right, guys? I mean, the way he was shielding the puck was something that I was watching, and just he would have players on him, and he would be able to hold the puck in small spaces to be able to move it. So he is going to get the primary on the power play goal that's going to get this thing started off to RNH, and he just draws everyone to him and coming down that weak side, so RNH is able to put it in. And then on the Bud Colson goal, he is able to get that puck and find a way to get it to him. So look at this on the game-winning goal. Again, we talked about the shielding and his ability to just have a foot on his opponent, and he takes his bottom hand off the stick to protect the puck, and he just shovels it towards the net. So just feel like, he was taking control of the game a little bit as it went on, and he had those 4 shots on goal. One of them obviously didn't even go on the net that winds up going in because it goes off of Kulikov.
Oilers are now 5-1 in overtime in these Stanley Cup playoffs, and Leon Draisaitl has 4 of the winners and the first assist on the other winner. And he also has made history on this night. The 4 overtime goals is the most in Stanley Cup playoff history. Let's hear from Leon Draisaitl and the other hero, Calvin Pickard, at the podium.
You've been played alongside Leon Draisaitl now in this run. What is it about the guy next to you able to score all these goals in big moments?
Yeah, he's as clutch as it gets. Obviously, it was a game of bounces. They got one at the end of the third there, and then we got the last one. But he's been playing great. Always scores big goals at big times, and we're going home with momentum.
Left side, front row.
Sorry about that, Leon. Calvin comes into this game. He's now 7-0 in these playoffs. What has he meant to this group, and can you maybe also describe the save that he made on Lundell and how important that was?
I mean, it's hard to describe. The situation that he gets put in. Sometimes they're not always easy, right? We're down 3-0. He's coming in. He's cold. It's not easy, and he makes those stops at the key moments that we really need them, and he's one of the best in the league at making the right save at the right time, and he's been nothing but spectacular for us.
Right side, front row.
Calvin, can you give us a thought on just the emotions of these playoffs? You come in, you're playing great, 6-0, get hurt, and then you got to kind of sit, and then you get a chance to come back into the game. And I also want to ask you about that save in overtime on Bennett.
Yeah, obviously when I got hurt it was frustrating. Things were going pretty well, and then Skins hopped in there and played great. I felt for him today. He came ready to play today, made some big saves early. We just didn't have it as a team early, and I think Knoblock just wanted to switch it up. And if he was playing behind our team in the second and third and overtime, he would have done what I did too. So it's and that save in overtime. I was just telling the guys. I kind of read it pretty well, and then I looked in my glove and it wasn't in there, and I kind of heard the crowd oohing and on, and it was a good bounce, and then we got one.
On the far right, standing.
Leon, can you just take us through the sequence of the way the first period went for you, and the dialogue between periods, and what flipped it for you in the second, you think?
I think just intensity. We wanted to come out strong tonight, but they put us on our heels early, and we were kind of lollygagging around a little bit, and certainly not the time to lollygag around, right? Especially after getting spanked in Game 3. So Corey spoke up. Obviously, a guy that everybody, when he speaks up, you listen and you do what he says, and we did a great job of grabbing some momentum and then keeping it. We're in the finals. They're going to have their push too. That's a heck of a hockey team over there. But this time you got to stick with it, and I thought we'd done a really good job of that tonight.
Left side, front row.
Leon, what does it say of the character of your team? A lot of people were writing you off down 3-0 after the first period, looking at a 3-0 series deficit. Felt like the season's on the line. What does it say about you guys?
I think that's once again tells you that our group never quits, right? I think we believe that no matter how bad it is, if we get over that hump of adversity, we're going to keep pushing, we're going to keep coming, and eventually it'll break. And again,
we don't want to be in these situations too many times. But when they happen, I think we're great at it.
We'll take a few more in the far back right standing.
Calvin, not that you necessarily want these chances, but to Leon's point, when you make a save on Lundell, when you make the last second save against, Ekblad, it's not the chances you want to see, but does it help you get in the game and feel like, okay, I'm in this now? Does it help in any regard to make a couple of saves when your club needs it right off the hop?
For sure. Yeah, I think when I first got in there in the second period, we really started playing well, and there wasn't much action there for about 6 or 7 minutes, and I made that save. I don't know, it might have been Lundell on the little mini breakaway, and it kind of gets you feeling, better. And after that, it was pretty steady. They had some looks, but we had a ton of looks too, and our resolve was fantastic.
Standing on the far right.
Leon, with all the overtimes, you guys have now played the equivalent of 5 games in 4. It's mid-June. I'm just wondering physically, how do you feel when it gets late in a game like this one?
I feel great. No, I mean, it's long season, of course, for either sides. We've played the same amount of minutes in this series, so fatigue kicks in at some point, but your adrenaline usually takes over, and you just chip away at it.
Last one, right side, front row.
Yes, this one for you, Leon. You said earlier, when Corey speaks, we listen and we do what he says. Could you share with us a little bit of the nature of the message? Because you're no rookie, Connor's no rookie. There's a lot of veterans. So why the words that he speak to you are so important and heavy?
Well, I'm not going to share exactly what he said right now, but the message is that he's been in these moments. He's not a guy that speaks up or yells at guys all the time. That's not his character. So when a guy like that, with that many games, that much experience, he's won everything there is to win. He knows how to win. When he speaks up, you listen, and it grabs your attention. So, he's a heck of a leader.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Finally tonight, Oilers head coach Chris Knoblock.
Hey, Chris. I just wanted to just maybe get a thought on, changing your goaltender when, Stewart played pretty well in that first period, but and then just a thought on what Calvin did and kind of what he's been doing in this playoffs and just the run he's been on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Stu to be pulled there. Our team was flat. It was, didn't give him any opportunities. Had again taken 3 penalties in the first period, 2 high stickings, which I'm hating. But unfortunate. We needed to change things up, and the change was great the way he played. Picks made some really big saves. I don't think there was many shots in the second period, but there was a couple of really good quality ones that he came up big with. And then, as the game went on, obviously the one in the overtime, he got his glove on it just enough to keep that from going in. And, it was great to see him make the saves when we needed them.
Left side, front row.
A lot of teams have backup goalies that they hardly ever use, and you ride your starter. Can you explain the confidence that you have in Calvin, and also what that save on Lundell, that little mini breakaway, did to change the complexion of the game for your team?
Well, I have confidence in him because you look at his record. Whether it's last year, this year, especially in the second half of this year, he's been doing a lot of winning, and he's been getting a lot of goal support too, but he's been making the big saves when we needed them. And I'm thinking about when Stu was injured at the end of the season, and there was a run of games where Picks played in consecutive starts, and I remember just him making some really key timely saves. Last couple minutes, opposition had their goalie pulled, and coming up with those key saves at the big moments. And I think for him, he's been a journeyman goalie. He's been through it all, and right now he's been enjoying the ride. The ride last year of just becoming a regular NHL goaltender again, and then obviously getting as many starts as he's been getting, and he's earned them. I'm not giving him any starts. He's deserved it.
Right side standing.
Chris, you have the closest view of that game. You're closer to the action than anyone. What's it like in the moment to see your team go down like that, come back? What are you thinking through it tonight?
Well, I knew we could come back. It's not easy to, but I know with the group that we have, we can do it. We just got to dig in and win a few more battles and play a little bit smarter. And the guys didn't quit, and we just needed something to turn it around. And that power play goal was it. And then we were just able to get a little confidence and some belief that we can do this. And after the way Game 3 went, and then the way the first period tonight went, a lot of teams probably don't find a way to rebound. But a lot of credit to these guys. Very proud of them. Loved the effort from them.
Right side, third row.
Yeah, Chris, a lot of the guys were saying after Game 3 that Leon addressed the team after the game. The fact that he walks the walk after he talks the talk. I mean, you've won 2 games in this series, and he scored the overtime winner in both of them. Can you just talk a little bit about, the fact that he backs up his words?
We have a lot of good leaders on our team. A lot of guys who probably, if they're on our teams, they're probably captains. And we go through like roster. We got so many guys like Henrique, Ekholm, and we talk about even Brett Kulak. There's so many guys that don't even wear letters have a lot of say, and there's a lot of respect for those guys. As for Leon, I don't know what could be said that really conveys what he brings to our team, not only in leadership but the play. And he has just elevated his game in the toughest moments. Toughest moments in playoffs is tough, but how many overtime goals has he scored? And even the one in Vegas that Kapanen scored, he was involved in that. He had a big part of that. So, he knew that if we have an opportunity to get back in this series and change the momentum, our best players got to step up and play well. And, I believe all our best players did that tonight.
Take a few more left side, third row.
From an emotional standpoint, Chris, what's it like to live this series? I mean, a lot of people on the outside are saying this is one of the greatest, one of the tightest series through 4 games they've ever seen.
It's... games like that, it's exhausting. It's a roller coaster, but for me, I just I do appreciate the level of hockey. The 2 good teams playing as hard as they are, playing the right way. I do appreciate being so close to the action and seeing what I'm seeing. But it's obviously with what's on the line, it's stressful. There's a lot on the line, and but it is fun, and I think our guys are having fun, enjoying this moment, and we're going to enjoy this tonight, and we know tomorrow we're going to have to turn it off because we're going to have a big Game 5 coming.
Stay in that same row.
Can you, along that vein, you're bringing now a team home that's 2-2, just won a miraculous game here. You're going into Edmonton on a Saturday night in a full sold out. The city's on fire up there. What awaits the Oilers, the team, everybody, these next 3 games? There's some wild hockey coming, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some more exciting hockey. You look at these, 3 of the 4 games have been nail biters. They've been exciting, back and forth. Either team could have won. And, I don't think there's a better place to experience a hockey game or for a hockey game to be played than in Edmonton. The atmosphere there with the fans, the excitement in the building, but also around the city. I think it's great, and I think it's well deserving that as exciting as this series has been, that it can be played in Edmonton.
Chris, this is a play.
It is going to be nuts in Edmonton. We'll have a Hot Zone live from Edmonton after Game 5. Paul Maurice said before this game that Game 3 was an aberration, the landslide win, and I think that's been proven to be correct by tonight's game. We have 3 overtime games apart from that. So do we have how do you pick a favorite in this one? Can you? Is someone have the edge here?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, you know, when you're watching the game, one game, first period, look what happens. Then you see what happens in the second period. There's so much pushback with both of these teams, and they're so good that it's so difficult to tell, I mean, which way it is going to go. What I would say is we haven't seen Connor McDavid light the lamp yet, so that's something that I'm looking forward to. And really, guys, entertaining hockey. I mean, if this goes the distance, you know, it's a treat.
It feels like it is.
Yeah, that's...
The reason why, like, you can see it tonight, how no team really has an edge and there's no favorite, because even in a game where the conditions were perfect for the Florida Panthers, they're up 3-0 in this game, they have a stranglehold on it. It's like, you don't come back against the Florida Panthers in that situation, except the Edmonton Oilers do. So with that being the case, it's like, how do you know who's going to win this series?
Yeah, I mean, there's an undeniable resiliency about the path that the Edmonton Oilers are taking here. And I agree, it's too tight to call in a best of 3. But from a pure hockey perspective, I wonder about the challenge that Cal Pickard faces moving forward here in this next 3. He's going to have to be better than Sergei Bobrovsky for the next 3 games.
Right.
Is it possible? Of course it's possible. Is it likely? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that's fair with 2 even teams that Florida would have likely the advantage in goal. But Edmonton has 2 games at home.
Yeah.
Maybe that counteracts that,
factor.
which gets us right back to where we were. An even series that likely is going the distance. You can watch the entirety of our Hot Zone on YouTube.